Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a little writing vlog. I thought I would do this potentially bi-weekly. I'm going to try at least to do writing vlogs over 2 weeks and then another one over the next 2 weeks, etc. It's also going to force me to write a little bit more than I was doing before. Recently I've actually been participating a little bit more in writing sprints, and that's really been the motivating factor for me. It's been when someone else is saying, oh, I'm writing now, and then I join and then I'm like, yeah, this is a writing session. I should be writing. I'm not going to do something else. It's really stressed to me the importance of just showing up. Before, I think my mindset was a lot more, well, if I show up and I don't actually write or do anything, if I haven't written that many words, then I don't want to do it. I feel like it's not good enough. And this perfectionism is actually what ends up making me do nothing at all and kind of stops me from actually writing. While if I set my only criteria, my only necessary thing to do as showing up, then I actually end up writing and I actually end up making much more progress. So I'm gonna try and change my mindset. This is actually coming right before Christmas time, like we're in November right now. It's currently the 15th of November, Monday. So basically my thinking is that if I start thinking that way, that's gonna be a great resolution for next year as well. Showing up, that's all I need to do. So last night I had a little writing sprint with my friend Brie, who's organizing those on Instagram Live, which is really fun. Every now and then when she does it, it's the right timing for me because she lives in the US and I live in the UK, so big time difference, but every now and then it works out perfectly because she's doing it, I think, around lunchtime for her and it's like 9 p.m. for me, so perfect timing. And I'm much more of a night owl when it comes to creative stuff, and I obviously have a full-time job as well, so I can't exactly write during the day. So when it's the evening, it's perfect for me. So that's what I've been doing, and it was really, really fun because I ended up writing a good amount of words. I think I had an extra 1,500 words compared to what I had before. It's not that many, it's just 1,500, that's it. But it was better than zero. It was a lot more than I would have had I not shown up at all.
Don't force me out of bed in your society. Don't push me down the road you're playing down. Don't try to fix my head, it's just your anxiety. Don't hush me now cause I just wanna shout.
I'm just in my kitchen because yesterday I went out shopping and I got some new tea. And this is what I got. Mulled Wine Magic it's called. It's by T2, which is one of my favorite tea brands. I don't know that this is showing properly. There you go. Where's the light coming from? I feel like you can see it better like this. There you go. This is Mulled Wine Magic by T2. T2 is basically my favorite tea brand, and they do like really delicious types of teas, especially fruity, herbal teas. So I'm just gonna have a little bit of this while I'm writing. So yeah, I feel pretty proud of myself for having made even the slightest of progress. And considering I'm currently rewriting my first draft, I'm actually fixing some areas, and then there's areas that I still like as they were before, some scenes that I think are still good, or even just some small passages here and there, smaller than scenes, that I think I can reuse. So I do grab some elements from my previous work, and I think this works best for me because that way I don't feel the pressure and the, you know, that moment when you're looking at your blank page and you're like, I have to write everything. Here I know I can reuse some bits, so it's really making me feel better about my writing and it helps me advance a little bit. Same with the fact that I've been doing a lot more prepping work than I used to. I think before I used to be a lot more loose with my writing and just show up, write some stuff, see what happens. Now I kind of still do that, but I wouldn't consider myself a planner or plotter whatsoever. But I do every now and then go back and say, okay, that next chapter, I need this scene and that scene and this scene, and kind of summarize it very briefly in some bullet points type of thing. And then when I go through it, whenever I'm stuck, I can just go back and be like, what am I meant to achieve here again? Like, what is where is this going? Where is the next scene going? And it kind of helps me a lot with any writing block. So I've now reached, I think, my current chapter 4 or 5, I can't remember exactly. So I'm getting a little bit closer to the point where I think I'm going to be able to mostly reuse everything that I had in my first draft, because it was really the beginning that needed a lot of reworking. And then some new things from this new beginning are going to affect other areas further in. Including the fact that one of the characters, my main character originally meets him at a different point in time, and now that she's met him under different circumstances and at a different time, then I'm going to need to rework the other scenes with him to make sure that I haven't given any hint towards the way that they met or anything like that, and I need to transform them if I had. The other thing as well that I'm going to be doing, and I think that's going to be my work this week, is everything that I've already written, I think I'm going to break down in much smaller chapters than I have before, because I'm kind of currently working in a way that I'm like, yeah, this is a solid amount of words, and all my chapters are kind of similar amounts of words, and they kind of represent the same amount of things that have happened as well. So this felt natural to me originally, just because this is how I wanted to break down my story. But I realized that when I read, I love short chapters. I love short chapters so much. And some people's way of doing chapters is actually a scene. A scene is a chapter. So whenever you have a moment in time and in one place, that's a chapter. It moves place or time, that's another chapter. And I think that's what I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to break down my chapters into smaller ones. And I think that's going to really work in my story's favor. It's just going to help the storytelling, I think, a lot. So that's my plan for this week. I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be finishing the current chapter I'm working on. And then I will regroup, let you know where I'm at, and probably need to prep work for the next rewriting. Have a look through the stuff that's already written in my first draft that I can reuse, and see where there's gaps and where there's things I need to change. Very quick update. Today is Tuesday the 23rd of November. I haven't been writing all that much recently except tonight. I finally had a little bit of a productive evening where I finally decided to get myself into restructuring my chapters according to what I said earlier, which is that I wanted to have shorter chapters. So what I did is I love to use Notion. Notion is basically a note-taking app. It's pretty simple if you just want the basics, but you can get it to be more complex than that if you want anything extra. So it allows you to create tables and calendars and lists and all sorts of things. But I personally wanted to create a little table that just allowed me to have chapters number 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. for the new chapters, and rewrite in a quick little description column what each of those chapters are in terms of the scenes, because my goal was to pretty much have one scene equals one chapter. Not entirely, because sometimes a scene can be very, very short, but mostly that. And then I also wanted to write kind of the number of words that each of those scenes / chapters were, just to keep an idea, kind of keep track of how many words each of my chapter is, whether they're kind of equal or if they're too disparate. I don't really know whether that's an issue really, because to be fair, when I read books a lot of the time, they do have very different sized chapters, and I think that's fine as long as they make sense, as long as the scene is complete and all that. So that's what I've just done, and that actually also allowed me to have an ending to the chapter I was writing right before I did that, which is now my chapter 12, and previously was, I don't know, chapter 5 or 6 or something, and was going to be so much longer. But now that I've decided it's going to be scenes, I knew where to end it, and suddenly it was so much easier and it unblocked the end of that scene for me. So I'm actually really happy that I did that, because I feel so much better about continuing to write now. Super quickly, I apologize for the light because it's sunny, which is actually nice for me, so I'm enjoying it, whatever. But very quickly, I've written now 410 words, I think, within this new chapter, so I'm pretty happy with just having written a little bit. I think I'm going to be able to grab quite a bit from round 2, the second draft, basically, because there's quite a few things that I can still reuse within this chapter, so I should definitely be able to finish this chapter today, which makes me pretty happy. And maybe even if I feel motivated and I don't want to read, because I need to kind of decide whether I want to spend more time writing or reading, and I feel like maybe if I'd rather write and I'm in the mood for it, then I should continue, and then I might be able to write a little bit more than one chapter today. So pretty happy. It's also brought me to 12,000 words at the moment in this third round of my drafts, so I think that's kind of a good spot at the moment, although I'd love to go further, but I just feel like for these 2 weeks I feel pretty happy with that. I think that means I've written an extra 2,000 words this month, which is really not that much, but it means it's moving forward. I'm doing things. I'm actually writing things. And I think that's something that I've learned as well this year, more recently, is that it doesn't actually matter how many words you write. It matters more if you think about showing up, and showing up is what truly matters, because if you don't show up, you're not going to actually have any progress whatsoever. So the one thing that I require of myself now is just to show up.